Hello, today I'm going to explain to you about a website called KaHoot. KaHoot is a site where you can make different questions that you can use to assess students' knowledge on different subjects. You could also use it as a review before a test or a quiz. You can also use it as a fun little game activity after instruction, or even as a pre-assessment to see what students already know. I have found that it is very good in accessing what students know, so that you know what you need to focus on, or maybe need to work more on, or who's not getting what. Um, students will need a device to answer this. They can answer it on a cell phone, iPad, or any type of device you might have. If you do not have a class set of device or do not have access to it, but you do have several devices, you could put students in groups and they can work together, and you can still kind of see what students do and do not understand, especially since they're working together. If one person doesn't know the correct answer, then you know that, okay, that's a focus that we need to work on, or there's some confusion somewhere. One thing that I love about this site is the engagement. Students love it. They always want to play. They're always asking, are we going to play that game with the iPads, not even realizing that, they're showing me what they know. They just think it's a big old game. I also like the fact that you can keep the results and that you can easily see the results, and I'm going to show you how to do that. One thing that I find that is hard, I have not figured out the discussion part, or like if there is something that you couldn't do easily in a multiple choice question, how to figure that out. It's not as easy to see students thinking on things. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make one. The one that I have used most often is the quiz. So you just click on quiz, and you have multiple options. You can make a quiz. You can also go up here and search public Kahoots, and I have done that especially for like main idea. Somebody's already made one, and if they make it public, then you can use it. So let's say if I wanted to make a quiz about nouns. So I could give it a name here, and I would type go. Then I can put in questions, and you can make them bold. You can use the exponents if you needed to, and image. You can also add in images for pictures, and also add in videos if you wanted to. So let's say my first question could be, which of the following words is a pronoun? And I can set how many points. So do I want it to be a points question or a no points question? So points meaning that the students can earn points for that question, and it kind of works like as time goes down, the less points they could get. So students want to try to quickly answer it. Or you can put it so that it's not worth any points at all, especially if you're using it as an assessment. Then you might just want to be able to see what they know, and you don't want to have them on a time crunch, because I found that if students know that, oh, well, I can get more points if I answer it quickly, then they might rush and not take their time, and then it causes them to miss the question even though they otherwise might have known it. But if you're doing it as a review or a little quick game and to keep students engaged, you could keep the points there. You can also change the time limit. You can make it as little as 5 seconds all the way up to about 2 minutes. I usually make mine around 30 seconds to give students time to read the question and then talk with their group. If it's something I know they can do quickly, I might make it a little bit shorter. Or let's say if I were doing main idea and I need them to read the passage and the question and decide to answer, I would make it as long as 2 minutes. So down here is where you would put your answers. You can make it so that there are more than one answer. So if I wanted to say, okay, his, and then down here I want to put their, those are both correct, and students only need to click on one of them. I have found that can be a little confusing for some students, especially if they don't understand, oh, well, it's 2 answers. Then it makes them sit there and think, well, maybe there isn't a pronoun, even though it is a pronoun. So my suggestion would be to only make one correct answer so that you're not confusing students, unless you have like middle or high school students where they're thinking, where they can see that there are 2 correct answers, and the only thing they need to do is choose one. So I'm going to add in the rest of my answers. You could also, if you only wanted to maybe do true or false, there is an option to take away or even to add in another. You can only have 4, but you can go down to as little as 2. So once you write in a question and you would like to add another one, you can do add a question. And I can go ahead and add in another question here. So I might say which, or I might say a noun is ... and then have them complete it. So a person, place, or thing, a describing word, an action word, or I'll just put in a silly one, completes a sentence. Okay. And then I'm going to add one more question where I say, which of the following is and so I could do several different questions. Let's say I'm going to put in pretty, jump, dog, and smart. Alright, so let's say I'm done adding questions. I can then hit save and continue. And you can reorder your question. Like, let's say if I wanted this one to be first, I can drag and drop them into place. Although I found that to be a little hard to do at times. So sometimes I don't worry about doing that. You can also go back and edit, or you can edit your questions. If you're fine here, like if you wanted to change your times, you could. But if you're fine, you can just hit save and continue. You can also, when you get here, you tell them more about the quiz. You can just choose to make it public or private. You also have to set a primary audience, so you need to say who is this for. And if you would like, you can add a description there where you can say a basic nouns quiz. And in my subject, you could put like a little subject, like a grammar or something or if you're using math or anything. I could also give it a cover image. So if you have something, you just hit choose file, and then it will let you choose whatever it is that you would like to add. I usually don't add. Some people do. You can add music and all other types of things. And then you just hit done. So now if I wanted to play it, this is what you would look like. You would hit play now, and then this screen would come up. And with your students would then go to KaHoot.it. Make sure they go to .it. You do not want them to go to .com. An inappropriate website will show up, so you want to make sure you're careful not to put .com and put .it. And so then again, this is what the student screen will look like, and they will get a game pen. So I have to hit launch, and you have all these different options where it says display the game pen throughout. So let's say if a student accidentally logs off and they need to get back on, that might be helpful to keep that game pen so that they can quickly get back on. You can also randomize the order of questions, randomize the order of answers, and play music while they wait if you would like. And so then you would hit launch, and it will take it a minute to come up, and it's telling them to get their phone, tablet, or something ready. And then here's the game pen. So 955456 is what you want to, they're going to put in. So they would, on their screen, they would put in 955456 and then hit enter. Then they can put a nickname. So if you're doing it in groups, they can come up with a group name, or if you would like them to just use numbers, they can. If they're doing it by themselves, or if you're using it for an assessment, I would encourage them to put in their own name and then push go. And then it says see your name on the screen. So on the teacher screen, this is what you would see, or on the screen on the smart board, they can see if they're on there, and if they're on there, they can wait. Now let's say if you have a student who is silly and they put in some name that you do not like or you think is inappropriate, you have the option to exit their name out, and they have to go back and try again. So then you will push start, and it tells them they have 3 questions. This is loading, so it gives them a minute to read the question, and then they have to choose the answer. So they will go on their screen and then choose the question, and then they would wait. So they would see that it is correct. So if you have 20 students And then once 20 students answer, it will show them whether or not they're correct. And then you just keep going. And it gives us a scoreboard, and that's only if you're doing points. If you're not doing points, the scoreboard will not show up. So once again, it will give them time again to figure this out. And so let's say if they get it wrong, it will show them the correct answer. Okay. And so once again, it gives them the final questions. And okay. And that's pretty much it. And it will show them at the end what place they're in if you chose to use points, or how many they got correct if you chose not to use points. So once you end it, it goes back to this and it tells them like they're the highest score, and then they can just click off and they're off of it. Now, for the teachers, there is a way for you to go back. Oops, I'm sorry. For you to go back and look at your results. You can hit at the end, download, save results, and then it will download the results for you. And when it comes up, it's going to come up in an Excel format, and it will show you the questions that students got right or wrong and the answer that they put. So it just doesn't tell you whether or not they got it wrong or right, but it also goes back and tells you which answer that they did pick. And so it does take a minute for it to come up. And so here, it has the student's name, the answer's correct, what their score was if you chose to do the points. And then the questions is one of my favorite features, is that it doesn't just say question 1, question 2, it tells you what the question is, and then if they got it wrong or right, and what they put. It also has you like the overall performance here, which can be very beneficial to kind of see where your class is going. All right. So you can easily collect data on it. I did not know this at first until I kept kind of looking at it. I was like, oh, you can collect data. So it is easy. And let's say if you want to go back and look at those and you didn't save it on your computer, right here where it says my recent results, you can go back and it gives you the options to download this, or you can also download it to Google Drive. To communicate these results, it's really very quick feedback. Students know right away whether or not they were right or wrong, and it's also easy to go ahead and click and to clear up any misconceptions before you move to the next question. The thing about it is that students are so engaged sometimes that they're not hearing you. If they get it wrong, you kind of have to get them to calm down so that you can clear up the misconception. So it might take a while to calm them down to clear it up. I do think this is a great tool. I use it a lot in my classroom, and like I said, students are always engaged. They love it. They're always asking me whether or not they can play it or not. And so it really does work in that way into review. So if you would like, give it a try and tell me what you think.